As a young successful entrepreneur, Daniel Ek seemed to have it all. He had just retired in his early 20s after selling his advertising business called Vertigo, making him a millionaire in the process. He was out partying most nights, and he'd even bought himself a Ferrari. However, despite all of his achievements and the lavish lifestyle that came with it, he found himself feeling lost and without a purpose. Before we continue, we would greatly appreciate it if you would subscribe to Timeless Business, press the like button, and turn on bell notifications. Now let's get back to the video. It was 2006, and Daniel was experiencing a quarter-life crisis. Determined to find meaning in his life once again, Daniel decided to use the money he had made from selling his advertising business, Vertigo, to pursue an even bigger idea. He wanted to revolutionize the music industry. With this goal in mind, he founded Spotify, which has since become a household name and a game changer in the industry. But Daniel's journey to success was not always smooth. Since he was a teenager, Daniel was an entrepreneur. When he was 13, he started his first business building websites for clients. He started off by charging $100 for his first client, then $200 for his next client, and by the age of 18, he was charging $5,000 per website. He went on to recruit other kids from his school to help him by bribing them with video games, and soon Daniel had a whole team working for him. Soon after, he applied to Google, but was told he needed a degree, so instead he decided to start his own search engine, but quickly abandoned that idea when he realized that competing with Google wasn't a wise move. Despite his entrepreneurial spirit, many of his business ideas never came to fruition. It wasn't until his early 20s that he finally hit the jackpot, selling one of his businesses to Trade Doubler for an estimated $1 million. Looking back, Daniel realizes that his quarter-life crisis was a turning point that led him to his ultimate passion and purpose. Without it, he may never have pursued the idea that would change the music industry forever. As the popularity of file-sharing service Napster soared in the early 2000s, the music industry was thrown into turmoil. The ease with which users could share MP3 music files for free led to a lawsuit that shut Napster down. But similar applications on websites like Kazaa, LimeWire, and the Pirate Bay soon emerged, making it clear that the music industry would be unable to stop online file sharing. Daniel Ek, a music fan and entrepreneur, saw the negative impact this was having on the industry and the declining record sales. He believed he had found a solution, a platform that was even better than Napster, where users could access all the world's music instantly and legally, with a portion of ad revenue going to the artists. This was the birth of Spotify, a service that Daniel believed would be a win-win for both users and the music industry. However, things didn't go as smoothly as Daniel had hoped. The record labels were not on board with the idea, and the path to creating Spotify was filled with complications and controversy. In hindsight, Daniel admits that if he had known just how difficult the journey would be, he may never have started Spotify at all. In the summer of 2006, Daniel Ek and his friend Martin spent their days and nights recruiting the best coders they could find, with the goal of creating a prototype for Spotify, a music streaming service designed to help the music industry. However, they quickly found themselves facing a challenge. They couldn't convince the music industry to license their music without a working prototype, but they couldn't build a prototype without the music. In order to overcome this dilemma, the team resorted to illegally downloading hundreds of thousands of songs. Despite the questionable means by which they obtained the music, the team's hard work paid off and they were able to create a sleek, professional prototype with a great search engine and playlist features. When they sent out beta invites to test the service, users were thrilled with it. However, negotiations with the major record labels, known as the Big Three, Sony, Warner and Universal, to legally use their music were not going well. The record labels were resistant to the idea of a service that offered free music funded by ads, and insisted on a fixed price for every time a song was streamed. As the company's funds began to run low, and with Daniel feeling anxious, the team found themselves at a crossroads. In a last-ditch effort, they proposed a compromise. Spotify would also offer a paid version of their service for a fixed monthly fee, and the record labels would receive a larger percentage of ad revenue. After much discussion and negotiation, the record labels agreed to this compromise, and the team was finally able to secure the licensing deals they needed to launch Spotify to the public. After finally securing the licensing deals they needed to legally use music for the major record labels, the company faced numerous challenges and controversies. The record labels demanded a large percentage of revenue and a chunk of Spotify stock, leaving the company with just 30% of revenue to cover their costs. This led to a constant battle with the music industry, as the record labels regularly threatened to pull their licenses if Spotify did not make the changes they demanded, such as removing features from the free version of the app to encourage more users to join the paid version. Individual artists also spoke out against Spotify, with some pulling their music catalogues from the platform entirely. Taylor Swift, for example, publicly criticised Spotify for devaluing music and withdrew all of her songs from the app in 2014. In addition to these issues, fake streams, where forwarders use streaming farms to replay certain songs on repeat in order to increase their share of Spotify's revenue, further hurt the income of genuine artists. Despite these challenges, Spotify has persevered and today is a household name and major player in the music industry. However, it remains a controversial company with ongoing debates about the fairness of its business model and the amount of money it pays artists. As the competition in the music streaming industry heated up, Spotify employees found themselves using the popular Game of Thrones quote, "Winter is coming," more and more frequently. They knew that a brutal war was just the beginning as an ever-growing number of similar streaming services emerged. The launch of Apple Music, in particular, posed a major threat to Spotify, as Apple held a lot of leverage over the company. For example, Apple seemed to be deliberately making it difficult and slow for Spotify to get updates on their app approved on the App Store, and they took a 30% cut of in-app purchases, meaning that when someone upgraded their Spotify account, Apple was taking a significant portion of their profit. To make matters even more challenging, other contenders entered the streaming wars, such as Tidal, which had strong ties to music artists and offered exclusive content, and tech giants like Google and Amazon entered the music streaming market as well. Even YouTube launched YouTube Music. Despite these fierce competitors, Spotify was able to retain their lead, largely thanks to their free ad-funded option. However, they were losing money on this free tier, as 90% of their revenue came from paid subscriptions. The free option was very effective at bringing in new users who later converted to the monthly subscription, but the overall problem was clear. If all these streaming services offered basically the same music, what were Spotify's unique selling points? And what would happen if the record companies had a change of heart and pulled Spotify's licenses? To secure their future, Spotify needed more leverage and differentiation. In an effort to further differentiate itself from competitors and gain more leverage over the record labels, Spotify began investing heavily in podcasts in 2019. The company spent over $1 billion to acquire content and even bought the podcasting platform Anchor for around $100 million. This allowed Spotify to own content itself, which not only meant that they had some exclusive content that couldn't be found anywhere else, but it also meant that they would pay out less revenue to record companies and musicians if users spent more time listening to podcasts on their app. However, this strategy also caused controversy. Some critics argued that by prioritizing podcasts over music, Spotify was devaluing the work of musicians and taking money away from them. Additionally, there were concerns that the company's focus on personalization and machine learning was leading to the promotion of cheaper, lesser-known music at the expense of more established artists signed with the major labels. This was highlighted by the controversy surrounding the discovery of 50 unknown artists trending on Spotify's biggest playlists, whose tracks had been streamed over 500 million times, but who had no online presence or social media profiles beyond a few songs on the platform. This led to accusations that Spotify was manipulating its recommendation algorithms to promote cheaper music and potentially undermining the success of more established artists. As Spotify continued to grow and expand, the company faced numerous challenges and controversies. One of the biggest controversies came when it was discovered that Spotify was using fake artists on its platform. It was later revealed that the company had licensed music from a company called Epidemic Sound, which sells access to a large library of royalty-free music. This move allowed Spotify to pay less money to record labels and musicians, as it could include these cheaper tracks in its playlists and artificially boost their popularity. However, this decision was met with criticism, as many felt that Spotify was taking away opportunities from genuine artists and diluting their streaming revenues. Another controversy surrounding Spotify came when it was suggested that the company could soon replace real artists with artificial intelligence AI music. This would allow Spotify to create hit songs through AI and own the rights to the music, increasing its profit margins by including AI tracks in its popular playlists. This possibility has sparked concerns that Spotify, which now has a lot of influence over the music industry due to the high percentage of music listened to on its platform that comes from its own recommendations and playlists, could suppress the reach of certain artists while artificially promoting others. In addition to these controversies, Spotify has also faced criticism for its dealings with the music industry. The company is engaged in ongoing battles with record labels and individual artists over licensing fees and the terms of its service. Some artists, such as Taylor Swift, have even pulled their music from the platform in protest. Despite these challenges, Spotify has remained a leader in the streaming industry, largely due to its popular free, ad-funded option and its focus on personalization and discovery. However, as the market becomes more crowded with competitors, and as the company continues to face criticism over its business practices, it remains to be seen how well Spotify will fare in the long term. In addition to these controversies, Spotify has also faced criticism for its dealings with the music industry. The company is engaged in ongoing battles with record labels and individual artists over licensing fees and terms of its service. Artists have even pulled their music from the platform in protest, citing low royalty payouts and a lack of control over their music. Despite these challenges, Spotify has remained a leader in the streaming industry, largely due to its popular free, ad-funded option and its focus on personalization and discovery of new music through its personalized playlists and recommendation algorithms. However, its influence has also led to accusations of Spotify manipulating the success of certain artists by artificially promoting or reducing the exposure of their music on its platform, such as by adding cheaper, licensed tracks to its playlists or shadow banning certain artists. In addition, the company's acquisition of podcasts and its foray into AI music creation has sparked further controversy and backlash, with some questioning the ethics of replacing human musicians with artificial intelligence and the impact on the music industry. Overall, the impact of Spotify on the music industry has been significant, but its actions and business practices have also faced significant criticism and scrutiny. That's it for today. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to Timeless Business. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell to never miss a new upload. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.